we're so glad to see everybody here today just to help us honor Isabelle with her bench. I was privileged to work on the library board with Isabelle for about 13 years before she retired and said, you take over. And also got to know her through quota, and then really got to know her the best, probably at my mother's kitchen table as we all shared a cup of tea some days. Isabelle's remembered for a lot of different roles within our community. She's remembered for her time as alderman, as it was called at that time, her time as mayor. She was remembered as the general manager of the co-op. She's remembered through how many organizations within our community where people got to know her and got to work with her. But today I'm going to concentrate on one thing, and that is the Isabelle Butters, who served our library community so very well. As alderman, Isabelle first became the city representative on the Weyburn Public Library Board back in 1971. She served on it then from 71 to 76, took a little break, and then came on again from 1984 to 2003, serving as our chairperson from 1987 to 2003. Those were big shoes to fill in afterwards, let me tell you. At the same time, she was also appointed to the Southeast Regional Library Board for the same time periods, and once again served as the chairperson from 1987 to 2003. What happened during Isabelle's time there? One of the big ones was the building, new Southeast Regional Library building. It was built to replace the temporary one that they had been in out at the Souris Valley grounds for about 30 years. And Isabelle, being Isabelle, had a vision, and her next vision was if we could just join the whole thing together and make a bigger library for Weyburn Public Library instead of the one that a number of us remember, that little gap that was between the two buildings. As that project for the regional library building was winding down, then we revved up and started doing the fundraising and the preparation for the addition to the Weyburn Public Library. And I remember as a board member back then how daunting it was with the amount of money we were to raise as a board to help with that project. And Isabelle just took it all in stride. I think she contacted people from way back. She personally contacted every organization. Money started to flow, and we were able to get our total up there very quickly in comparison to some fundraising. She, being typical Isabelle, she gave us all jobs to do at that point in time. My big one at that point was we had a thermometer with how much money we'd raised, and I had to paint it every time we raised it. She brought in a check for another big sum of money, and I had to keep painting the thermometer. As well, in that point in time, she was also very instrumental in the fact that that was during the period when the technology was coming in. All of our library branches, all 49 of them at that point in time, were being hooked up with our computers, our first computers, the public access computers, and Isabelle was very behind the scenes on all of that. But behind all of that, that was where people in the community saw her. But she was also served on a number of library committees, both at the provincial and at the national level, that most people didn't know about. In 1972, she was appointed to the Saskatchewan Library Development Board, and she served on it from 1972 to 1983. This was the board that was very active during the formation of the regional library system, and it was the start of the province-wide library system that we all enjoy so much today. And then she then served on the Saskatchewan Library Board for the next 4 years after that, and that's as the whole province's public library system became even more consolidated. In 1992, she took part in the independent but together visionary process, and that was just looking at what's the future of libraries going to be like in our province, and she stayed very active working on that committee. In 1997, she then served on the Regional Library Review Committee, and that, again, was looking at ways to strengthen it, building on the visionary process that had gone on just before. Now we have to come into some action time. As well, and it is always an as well with Isabelle with our library system. She also served on the Saskatchewan Library Trustees Association on the executive from 1992 to 2003. She served as president of that association for 4 years. She received the Saskatchewan Library Trustees Association Life Member Award in 1987. And then, if that wasn't enough, she also served on the Canadian Library Trustees Executive from 1999 to 2003. She stayed very, very busy in our library community. Isabelle's contributions to the library community were many. And so, on behalf of the Weyburn Public Library Board and the staff, we would like to dedicate this bench in memory of Isabelle, a library user, our supporter, and an absolutely powerful library advocate. Thank you. And now we would like to invite you to join us for Inside